Hello everybody and welcome back to Roze and Indy's Beginner Brawl. I hope you're all excited for our quarterfinals pool reveal here today. You're joined by my co-host Indy.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Roze and Indy's Beginner Brawl. This time we're back with the quarterfinals.
I actually already introduced, but I might have been muted. I think I was muted on Discord.
Yeah, you were muted.
Was I muted on stream too? Anyway,
I have no idea.
We're back with the quarterfinals pool reveal. Hope you're all excited for this. Yeah. I'll get right into it.
Yeah, very excited for this one.
Our Nomad 1 here. Kanmin Anmin. Played by Leaf here. Our Nomad 1. 3.47 stars.
And very noticeable here, the increase of AR to 8.9, almost 9 stars, or 9 AR. To be honest, with round of 16, Nomad 1, I was thinking it might have been a little bit lower, but it was still within an okay range, so this might seem like a big increase, but I think it's very in line with the players at this point, most of them being able to handle AR9, especially with seeing those performance on the hard rocks.
Yeah, this is the first rain in the tournament, after all. Low BPM, so you should be able to handle these patterns, but definitely more complex than anything else so far.
Yeah, with
even
a
some
lot of these
streams there.
sliders. Like, one of the differences is with a lot of these sliders, you're going to want to maybe start doing dashes for like these more wide sliders that maybe before in platters you might just be able to walk, but now it's really amping up the complexity in terms of not just the hyper dashes but also the normal dashes as well.
Yeah, the most, I think what stands out to most to me about advancing terrains like this is the increase in density. There's so many more dashes, so many more hypers, and you even have streams in parts with those hypers between them, and you have 1/3s there. Generally, just a lot more to keep track of. But with all that in mind, this should still be a consistency test, first and foremost, compared to the rest of the pool, which is why it's on the longer side. And that's our No Mod 1. Hope you're looking forward to playing that, because I'm really looking forward to seeing people play that. It's going to be awesome to see people on a higher level of map than we had in the previous rounds. And for that reason, we've also, with this No Mod 2, a very high BPM platter played by Pog. This map much lower AR than our No Mod 1, a very popular map in tournaments, but one of my favorites. It's super unique for being a platter with its incredible density and BPM. It's going to really test your ability to manage the density and reading at slightly lower AR than our No Mod 1, after all being platter instead of a rain.
Had to dip out for a little one back, so yep, this is the No Mod 2.
Yeah, I was introducing how this is more of a speed pick we have here, but being a platter, it's a little on the lower AR side, so the density gets really high in some parts.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a lot more dense with the 1/4 patterning as well.
Yeah, lots of that throughout the map. At 3.46 stars, this is right below our No Mod 1, basically the same star rating. But the contrast between a low BPM rain and a high BPM platter makes them around the same difficulty, which I think is a great way to contrast those still both very meaningful like ways to approach this difficulty in mapping.
Yeah, this is also a little bit longer, not too long, it's still about 2 minutes 30 seconds, but it should be more comparable in terms of like the length and also having a higher combo to the No Mod 2 from qualifiers than the other No Mod 2s so far in this tournament.
Yeah, definitely. But that's it for our No Mod specifics. We're going to move on to our No Mod 3 here. Losing your season here. I don't remember who Convert Enjoyer is. Everyone uses all these replay names. Is that Leaf? I feel like I've seen Leaf use that name before. But I don't remember.
That is correct, that is Leaf.
So this is just a no mod convert, very simple at that 180 BPM, lots of jumps, lots of anti-flow.
Yeah, 3.26 stars. Not a huge increase in SR, but just trying to gradually increase the difficulty and not go too extreme.
Yeah, with converts, they start to scale a bit differently from specifics around this point. But this map actually quite difficult, very consistent. It's one of the focuses of this pick. But it does have a diff spike later on with a high density stream section in the solo of the song.
And you might notice like here and there, like with the triples and some of the streams, just a little placement, but little patterns where you want to be careful of your placement.
So after that little pause, we're getting into the solo section, which is going to have a lot of hard jumps and anti-flow. But then coming up in about 40 combo, we're going to see a really, really dense stream section right here. The hardest pattern on the map is that one right there. I have to be able to placement those two batches of two notes there back to back and then dash away. It's a really hard spike, but we think it's pretty representative of what converts are, with spikes throughout them, and the rest of the map is very consistent and focuses on these jumps.
Yeah, and I'll just say, like, especially with those sorts of patterns where it's like those streams that you might want to like stand in the middle, like definitely looks scary at first, but just need to kind of get used to those and like being able to figure out where you need to stand for those and like anticipating when to dash after like the last note from those, and they don't really get that much, and they become a lot more approachable to work with.
Yeah, that one in particular though isn't really about placementing as much as it is managing those anti-flow patterns. Well, it is about placementing, but it's about placementing anti-flow there, because actually walking all of the movements make it a little too difficult. But with that, it's on to our No Mod 4 here, a bit more of a control focused convert. You'll notice that convert, No Mod 3, is AR 9. This one actually 9.3. Pretty high AR map, played by Senkan here.
Yeah, a real banger for this one. I would recommend playing this map with hit sounds.
High density, high AR, a little less movement. This map at 3.11 stars focuses a lot on really sudden jerky movements, and walk control on these denser patterns.
It is 3.11 stars with convert, so still less than the Nomad 3. Some tougher parts there.
This map also tests your placementing ability pretty much throughout the whole thing. I believe the AR 9.3 is pretty close to last round's Hard Rock AR, just below, I believe. But that's it for our Nomad pool. Move on to our first custom of the pool. Hidden one here, mapped by Sadu, played by Super Rooster. Virgin Suicide. This is a custom consistency hidden. And do you happen to have the difficulty stats on hand?
I need to get them pulled up here, but it is going to be quite different from last week's word. So this is a lot more focused on jumps, and your big difficulty thing to look out for here is these consecutive hyper dashes that happen several times throughout the map. Alright, so it is circle size 3 and AR 8.5, so pretty similar in stats to the hidden one from last round. And in the meantime, I'm actually going to get some other stats pulled up here.
Very calming song. The map, quite difficult, being that most of the players in this tournament have had a hard time with hidden so far, but the mod does need to scale like the rest, so I do wish you good luck with this. The density is a bit on the lower side, so hopefully that can give you a hand. But with those back-to-back hyper dashes, you have to have very good timing. I would focus on your timing most of all, because with hidden, the music will give you a hand. That is our custom hidden 1 there. Once again, mapped by Sadu. But it's time to look at our hidden 2. And if you remember last week, that was the first week that we had a reading hidden 2. We will be following that up with a lower star pick, 2.7 stars, but a pretty difficult reading pick here, played by Super Rooster. At AR7, again, low AR, and it features a good bit of walk control, but the map is very straightforward in the patterning, so hopefully that will give you a hand in reading it.
Yeah, and I believe this does not have any hyper dashes. In fact, that's the whole gimmick of this set, is that there's no hyper dashes. So won't need to worry about really the reading of those, though. It's not necessarily a solid difficulty, even if it has no hyper dashes.
There are some hyper dashes, definitely, but
Never mind, I was spreading false information.
ish information. But yes, the reason that we chose this map in particular is due to the simple patterning. Everything is linear or symmetrical or a very simple curve. Very easy to read the patterning. So the difficulty is all on the approach rate.
I think this is probably going to be the lowest AR we'll see for the rest of the tournament, question mark, like in terms of hiddens. So if you're able to get...
Likely, yes.
Yeah, I can't say for sure, so no spoilers really, but it's... if you can get used to this, then like even like an AR8 shouldn't feel as bad.
Yes, with the hidden 2 slot, I do believe we'll be scaling the map difficulty rather than the reading difficulty from this point, now that we've introduced about the level of reading difficulty we're looking for. But with that, it's time for our hidden 3, our hidden convert for this pool. Eyes of Devililiet. Say that. Played by Super Rooster here.
Kite convert, one of the more classic standard mappers.
Yeah, at
I
AR9.
remember playing.
At AR9, this is going to be the highest of the hidden pool. This is a consistency-focused map with quite a bit of density.
It's always worth noting with some of these like very subtle back and forth patterns, you have to make the choice between if you can feel confident to stand in the middle or if you want to do the back and forth with hidden.
I'm very happy with this pick because there's a lot of patterns which are where you completely hold one direction or another, but then there's also many where you need to manage your speed carefully, not be too low or too high. And pretty bit of the spike right there. Some difficult jumps. Want to hold the dash key there.
And you also do have some of these stream patterns where you may feel like you need to like do like some more movements than what would actually really be required. Like you can continue walking the same direction. You don't need to like try to wiggle anything.
There, timing focused stream patterns there. One of the harder patterns in the map. You need to make sure you time your movement for the last note of each of those 4 note groupings.
Sometimes with like streams like this, it can feel almost a little disorienting when it happens for a longer time.
Definitely, if you're relying on the hit sounds, you have to keep a good track of where they are landing in that stream so that you know where exactly you are if you're relying on the hit sounds as your main source of feedback. That is our Hidden 3. Bit of a longer map, definitely on the consistency side of things, compared to our very short Hidden 2. It's time to move on to our Hard Rock 1, for which we have an edit here, played by Indy.
Yes, it is an edit of Abyss Phase set by Malai. So this is a solid difficulty, but this is going to start to future more hyperdashes, and overall a lot more emphasis on the hard rock movement with the randomization.
Yeah, the general difficulty definitely up with this pick. Could you share what AR we have for this?
Yeah, it is base AR 6.6. Actually, let me check.
Let's
here.
double check.
I really should get these stats all up here for the showcase.
It is no hacks. That is the platter diff you're thinking of.
Okay, I would need to probably pull up those two again to get the stats.
We can look at it after this map is complete. So I believe it's AR 6.6 or 6.7 before Hard Rock. The equivalent, what it ends up becoming after applying Hard Rock, I believe would be 9.38 if it's 6.7.
I think this is at like 9.5, so I think it's 6.7.
Okay. Yeah, 6.6 would be 9.38, I believe.
I remember we were having this discussion of like...
We were discussing and we were confused. But yes, I think, what would it be, 9.52 then?
Yeah.
Portrait? Definitely on the high end.
Yeah, we're definitely scaling up the Hard Rock AR here. Also, what I really like about this is at the ending, like, you have these like little intense section with the hyper dash and jumps.
Mm-hmm. Look at that. Approach rate, yes, that is approach rate 6.7, becoming AR 9.38 after Hard Rock. So
okay, I was just completely wrong.
Equivalent to AR 9.4. So actually relatively close to our No Mod 3, but what you want to look out for there is how the being a low density specific, it's much more difficult on the reading than a high density convert. But it's time to move on to our Hard Rock 2, a custom by Ryuji known as Graveyard Mapper. This is a precision specific right here, played by Indy.
Yeah.
At a lower AR.
This is essentially a sequel to Slow Dancing in the Dark with like sort of the slider precision, though it definitely gets more intense at the end. I do also have the stats pulled up here. It is CS 5.98, AR 9.1, and the star rating is 2.89, though funnily enough, at no mod it's actually 4 stars because some of the hyper dashes in this map are just like edge jumps before Hard Rock.
Yeah, that can happen when we custom map for Hard Rock, but I'm really happy with this pick. It plays really well, and the difficulty ramps slowly over the duration of the map, but due to it being precision, even what's our relatively easier parts still require a lot of focus and control.
Yeah, it is slightly higher circle size than Hard Rock 2 from Roze 16, so the sliders are going to be a little bit harder to fully catch in SS.
Yes, I do believe after Hard Rock it becomes CS 5.98, so basically CS 6. And there's the halfway point of the map with a long break here, but the density increases a lot from here on out, and the difficulty does as well. And you will notice that the actual combo of the map is very low due to the low density, so your misses will all matter a lot since you won't have really a second chance to get up to that 200 combo mark. But due to the lower density in the first half of the map, we only just hit 500,000 scored there, and so basically half the objects in the map are from that point onwards.
Yes, and it's going to get pretty tense at the end with some of these hyper dashes, so definitely going to want to contain your nerves. It's going to be pretty nerve-wracking at the end here.
Yeah, these are big hyper dashes at a very high circle size, so holding even for a decent duration on these could seal the deal for your opponent if they break a little sooner than you. That is our custom Hard Rock 2. Really awesome map. Really looking forward to seeing people play that and practice it. We're going to move on to our Hard Rock 3 now. This is our Hard Rock Convert. It is 3.09 stars after Hard Rock, and it is a bit of a memory pick with some very long jumps throughout it. The overall difficulty relatively low for the pool with a pretty reasonable approach rate, but some of these jumps are really far and will be very difficult if you are not ready for them ahead of time, like that right there. Played by, I believe, Leaf.
Yeah, this is essentially the practice map of the pool, or the map that sees if you actually sight read this map or tried it. Typically in the tournament setting, like especially with like jumps that kind of border on memory, those tend to get edited out or not really put in as much. I decided to kind of test it at a very like smaller scale here with pretty short map. So
I will point out that in regular 4-digit tournaments, there are actually a lot of memory, pretty heavy memory focused maps, but usually they start at a higher star rating than this. We're approaching that unique aspect of Hard Rock a little early here, but we do hope that the general difficulty of the map will be pretty easy to compensate for the required memory for those big jumps.
and now for DT pool, which should be pretty interesting.
Ooh,
Double
I'm
time
really
one.
excited for this DT pool. This time we are mixing it up a little bit. Our double time one, still our consistency pick, but also going to be our speed pick at the same time, played by Senkon. It's Imperial Circus Dead Decadence. At a grand 375 BPM, this salad is going to really test your speed and control on this higher BPM. Now it is focused on those walks with only some dashes in between patterns, but the speed really can get to you if you are not ready.
Yeah, this is essentially a longer version of the DT2 from round of 16, which a lot of people really did well on. So this is a bit of a harder version than that and longer, so it's going to really test your consistency at this type of maps.
I know personally my favorite aspect to pool in this tournament has actually been DT speed, so I do hope you look forward to the future picks with that skill set, and I hope you have enjoyed the previous ones as well. I do know, like you said, that the round of 16 DT2 was really popular, and I'm very happy for that because I think it was a really fun pick to watch people play. But yes, this is on the longer side for DT map, almost 3 minutes after DT. Going to,
Also,
like mentioned,
finally getting
really
that
test
metal mount.
consistency. Yes, the long promised metal song in the pool is here. I know some of the people looking forward to it weren't able to stay in the tournament till now, but I know perhaps in this round, but definitely in future rounds, we'd be very open to hosting show matches so that we get to see more of the later pools that might end up a little less played due to the shrinking bracket as we move on in the tournament. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that map plays in match. Hope you all have good luck practicing it. Here comes our DT2, and with our DT1 being our speed DT pick, our DT2 actually opts for a bit more of a lower BPM jump heavy DT pick, played by Senkon again. Going to feature a lot more dashes than our DT1, but at a relatively low BPM for DT, under 200 after DT.
And also just a little bit of control with some of the sliders, but generally not the main focus of this map, I would say.
Yes. And this map on the shorter side being at just over 2 minutes compared to our DT1. Not the consistency pick. This DT2 is instead focused on the skill cap. It is 0.5 stars exactly. So right on target. Actually the highest star map in the pool. With our Nomad 1 being just below it.
I'm just enjoying the Millie song.
Yeah, this was actually my very favorite song back in 2017. That was many years ago now. 9, coming up on 10. Feels a little crazy, but yeah, I was really into this song in particular when I was 13.
Holy
What the hell, guys? I'm not Unk. I'm Chunk. Actually, I'm Bob. Does that make me Bunk?
You know, this is a good good thought to think about.
Yes, I'm really happy with this DT pool, and these 2 specific DTs are really awesome. Looking forward to seeing those in match, but I'm really also looking forward to seeing our convert DTs that come up now. Here is our double time 3, Seikyo no Iguraja, played by Super Rooster here. Now, these are going to start pushing the AR a little bit on the DT converts. Here being after DT 9.3 and testing your DT walk control like most of the DT converts so far, but there will be more dashes than before.
Yeah, and it was probably mentioned earlier already, but there are going to be 4 DT converts now this week, increasing the
2 DT converts into DT specifics, 4 DTs.
Yeah, my brain just not communicating clearly.
Yeah, I'm excited for the expanded DT pools. This map's really fun with these like dense strings of notes that you can walk, but a few of them you will need to manage your speed carefully.
Also, just a little bit of control with some of the sliders, because like especially with like converts, you see a lot of more of that droplet randomized droplets. So some of the droplet paths are a lot tougher to catch.
Yeah, DT convert is actually my favorite skill set, so I've always had a lot of fun pulling them. I'm really happy with this one. I think it plays really cleanly, but also emphasizes a lot of the difficult elements of DT converts, mainly being that walk control, this star rating, and managing that speed. Like I keep mentioning, sometimes you need to hold your walkie, sometimes you need to tap and release it repeatedly, sometimes you need to fit in a few dashes, and sometimes you need to hold dash, and you really just need to play and figure out what situations you need to apply how much speed to your catcher. Yeah, coming up on the end of this map here, not too long, 2 minutes 20 seconds. And moving on to actually my favorite pick of the pool, very unique map here as our DT4, played by me, Cosmetic Happy, at CS 2.8. This is going to be a higher CS pick.
A lot denser.
Yeah, definitely a dense pick, focusing again on that walk control, but including a lot more of these quick dashes back and forth. and at a higher BPM, those are going to be quite difficult. So you will need to get used to those.
Yeah, you might notice like some of these like small 1/4 sliders. There's like these droplets that jet out, so it is a little easy to miss those. Though honestly, you shouldn't really fret over missing a droplet too much. Better to stand still and to guarantee that you hit the pattern rather than trying to like do a little movement and accidentally miss, unless you feel confident.
But yeah, on top of mixing in the most dashes we've seen in a GT Convert pick yet, this map also features some longer strings of 1/2 notes that you need to control your walk speed for. In the choruses, little kiais right here. That is a tough pattern right there. Yeah, I'm most excited of any map to see people play that. You'll notice I did actually play that almost a year ago. I've been looking to pull this for a while. But with our
You made the
DT
tournament, in
pool,
fact, to pull that map.
yeah, basically. You will see actually coming up next our custom easy, and Mapper did want me to do something. I'll do that.
Yeah, we're finally going back to a specific easy, and it is a custom easy at that.
Let's see if this works. All right, this is played by Super Rooster, our video on. I don't have it. Sorry. No video. Usually wanted me to play the video, but I tried. We have a custom easy. It is awesome. Really awesome. Thanks to Super Rooster for playing this.
As for some stats, it is CS 3.6, AR 8, so with easy it's CS 1.8 and AR 4, and 2.68 with easy. That's star rating. This is very much focused on these wide jumps and getting the timing of those. And this is just a really fun map with the easy, so I did enjoy seeing this and playing this.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing people play this map. It is a song Yuji chose to map for the Chinese New Year and fit it into this pool for the timing of that.
Yeah, a little change up in the song here as well.
Yeah, the mapping represents the song really well in a lot of these sections. It changes to being a little more dense in sections like this.
I'm just jamming out this song right now.
Yeah. Usually with the second custom of the round, actually, has gone crazy hard with these maps. Especially this easy, it's like exactly what you want from an easy specific. Plays super well. I think players will really enjoy that one. But that is our last map before the tiebreaker, which is what's coming up right now. A custom tiebreaker made by Joy and Gemzu, played by Senkan.
Yes, that's going to bring up to us a total of 4 customs. Really crazy to see that we actually managed to reach this point here.
Yeah, we really appreciate all the mappers helping out in the tournament so far. They've made these pools a lot more special.
We'll do a little yap about the stats. So
yeah.
we have CS 3.6, AR 8.7, so a little bit lower than the AR 8.9 from No Mod 1, and it is 3.87 stars.
Yeah, definitely on the hard. Excuse me. Definitely pretty hard. The very low BPM though, which means actually to get to that star rating, the patterns have to be pretty complex. So you'll see a lot of 1/2 jumps back and forth and tons of hyper dashes. And really, it's just the hardest map in the pool by all measures. Really, it's just so mechanically more difficult than everything else. Being the tiebreaker, that I think it really will be a great determiner of who moves on the next round.
Yeah, for sure. One thing for especially note here with like the jumps is like a lot more of them requiring you to just hold dash as you go back and forth.
Yeah, and we get some streams coming in as well. Super clean mapping with these awesome visuals and such, being super like not overly clean, I suppose. Yes, this is a tiebreaker.
I do think it's an interesting contrast to last week's tiebreaker as well, which was a lot more like symmetrical and kind of I think probably like using distance spacing for those jumps, but here they're a lot more varying with the jump lengths and distances.
Yeah, it's a very modern map in a lot of ways, incorporating some borderline tech types of patterning to make the representation even cleaner and more fun to play. But as the tiebreaker, it is going to be on the long side, so you're going to need to hold on to your nerves for a long time during this map.
Another tougher stream section there with the back and forth 1/4 sliders. once again, I do want to express a thank you to mappers who made the custom maps this week. Sadu for the Hidden One, Ryuji, aka Graveyard Mapper for Hard Rock 2 and Easy 1, and Joy with the collab with Gemzu for this tiebreaker.
Yeah, that's the pool. I hope you all enjoyed finding out what you're going to be playing, and I hope you all enjoy practicing and playing it. I know I am really looking forward to seeing everyone play these maps. This was a super fun pool to make, and definitely one of my favorites in the tournament. Just everything works together super well, and I think it's really representative of the difficulty we want it to be for the players that are remaining in the tournament. So good luck, everyone. That'll be it from us for now.
I do want to just briefly mention, pool will be out soonish. We do have one more match at 7 UTC, so schedules will be out sometime after that. But yeah, everything should be out basically within like the next five-ish hours.
Yeah. Bye.